You've been pressing Apple to offer more concessions if they want to keep control of the platform overall. What was your reaction to the ruling Friday?
Well, so Carl, I think the ruling came down pretty much as I would have expected, which is to say that, Apple has market power, and the judge said it is using that market power inappropriately. Now, there are not a lot of tools at the federal level, but in California, they have a very specific law that gave the judge the ability to say that Apple's anti-steering and mobile payments requirements have no redeeming benefits and therefore need to change. And, that is only one piece of what Epic was arguing for, but it's actually really important to the business model of the App Store. I think Apple has a huge advantage over Facebook and Google. It's not destroying democracy. It's not hurting public health. And I just think the company has an opportunity to negotiate with both legislators and regulators to protect its core business, because in Europe in particular, they are quite determined to force Apple to allow alternative app stores, which Apple, I think, legitimately argues would be a disaster for privacy and security. And so I'm arguing that Apple should, in fact, work with regulators and find a settlement that gives both sides what they want.
A disaster for privacy and security. Would it be a disaster for EPS growth? Because a lot of the street believes that the headline risk that we've been dealing with lately has been, in the words of Morgan Stanley, for example, fairly negligible.
Well, so Carl, here's how it works. So right now, Apple uses the App Store to enforce rules that protect the privacy of consumers and the security of consumers. And I think its brand as a vendor, the thing that really distinguishes its products from Android, is privacy and security. And so if there are alternative app stores where Apple cannot control the products, where people can put the same kind of malware, the same kind of issues into the marketplace that you see rampant in the Android marketplace, Apple's differentiation goes away. And I think the entire business gets cratered, not immediately, but over time. And so I do think that that is a giant issue. And Apple has a benefit. Consumers who use iPhones love the privacy. They love the security. So there's a huge political support for a negotiation. And the regulators know that. The challenge is that antitrust law, as currently constructed, only gives regulators a blunt instrument. They can force alternative app stores. And in Europe, that's what they're going to do. And so my argument is, Apple, sit down and negotiate with the US regulators, cut a deal where you get rid of sideloading, which is the alternative app stores, in exchange for cuts in the fees on the App Store and some of the other rules of the App Store. Then both sides get what they want. And Apple then becomes an ally of antitrust regulators and buys itself essentially a get-out-of-jail-free card for the future. And I think that's really going to matter. And I think it will give Apple a monstrous win. So as an investor, you very much want them to negotiate, because the alternative is much, much worse.